Good morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Today is Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. And we're learning the last Perek Hey of Avodah Zarah. Getting closer to the end of the Seder. Baruch Hashem. Today's shir is the Refuah Shlema. Yisrael ben Rachel Leah, Rachel bas Pesach Zelda, Rachel Eliana bas Yer Bracha, Arav Yishka Berisha, Chai bas Debela, Refuah Shlema b'Soch Shar Chal Yisrael. And Shefer Bracha Batzlach with Tzvi Noach and Bracha Rachalea, and a Zil B'Korah for Shmuel Dab and the Miriam and Tzvi Ben Chana. Here we go. Perek Hey Mishnah Aleph Hasocher Esapo Allah Sos Imo B'Yayin Nesach. We're continuing with the halachas of Yayin Nesach. We started yesterday. If an idolater hires a Jewish worker to work with him with Nesach wine, as an example, to pour it into barrels or to move barrels or Nesach wine from place to place, Scharo Aser, then the worker's wages are prohibited for benefit. Neither he nor anyone else may have any benefit of the money he has paid for this work. This is a penalty from the Chachamim, because on the Torah law, the Raisa, only the wine is aser, but the isser of idolatry is so severe that the Chacham didn't want anyone to have anything to do with Nesach wine, so they put a penalty that anyone who does do this work is aser to use the money, thereby hopefully putting a hindrance to doing the work. Because why would anybody work for free? However, if the idolater hired the worker to do other work for him, like for example, to move barrels that do not contain Nesach wine, then even if he said to him to move this barrel of Nesach wine for me from this place to that place, and the worker did so, Schar Mutter, then his wages for the other work that he did is permitted for benefit. So the other barrels that are not Nesach wine, that are not Yayin Nesach, he can move, but the ones that are from Yayin Nesach, then he cannot use that money at all. If an idolater rents a Jew's donkey to carry Yayin Nesach on it, Scharo Aser, then the rental fee for the use of the donkey is Aser for benefit. There's also B'hana. Scharo Leishtiv. However, if the idolater rents it to ride on it, then even if the idolater places jug of Yayin Nesach on it, Schar Mutter, his fee is, you can benefit from that money because the fee is paid for the right to ride the animal, not specifically to put the Yayin Nesach on it. Since you can pay the ride, then the wine's not the issue. Mishnah Beis, Yayin Nesach shenafal al gabi anavim. If Yayin Nesach fell onto grapes, Yadichan ve'hein mutaros, you may rinse them off with water, and they are then mutter for use. Since the wine was not absorbed into the grapes, washing them off with cold water removes any trace of the Nesach wine that fell on them. How you move kos, but if the skins of the grapes were cracked and Nesach wine fell on them, asuros, they are usher, because it is assumed that wine seeped through the cracks into the grapes themselves, and that wine cannot be washed off. If Nesach wine fell onto fresh figs or dates, and even if the skins are not cracked, it cannot be washed off. Therefore, if yesh behen and notice in time aser, and if there's enough wine in them to give flavor to them, it is aser to eat them. Ma'aseh bebaitus ben zunin shehevi grogeres besfina. There was a ma'aseh. There was an incident in which Baisus, the son of Zonin, brought dried figs on a ship, and a barrel of nesach wine broke, and the wine spilled on them. And he asked the Chachamim about the dried figs, and they permitted them, even though the flavor of the nesach wine was noticeable in the dried figs. The Chachamim ruled that they were mutter, because wine gives an unpleasant taste to dry figs, as opposed to the fresh ones that we mentioned earlier. This is the general rule. Any forbidden food whose taste is beneficial to a mixture, so that if it falls into permitted food, the person who eats the mixture will enjoy the flavor that the forbidden food gives it. Aser, causes the whole mixture to be aser. However, any forbidden food whose taste is not beneficial to a mixture, so that if it falls into permitted food, the person who eats the mixture will not enjoy the flavor that the forbidden food gives it. Mutter, he leaves the mixture permitted. For example, vinegar made from nesach wine that fell onto split beans would be mutter. Mishnah Gimel. If an idolater was helping a Jew move closed jugs of wine from place to place, and the Jew left the idolater alone with the wine for some time, the status of the wine depends on the circumstances. If the wine was left in a state of supervision, in which the idolater thinks the Jew may return at any moment, mutter, it is allowed. It's mutter. It's mutter because the idolater is afraid that the Jew may come back and catch him in the act. There's a yira there. If the Jew informed him that he would be going far, then the wine is usher, even if it was in steel barrels, because if he stayed away for long enough for the idolater to make a hole in the seal of the barrel, seal the hole, and allow it to dry before the Jew returned, then it doesn't work. Because he knew he was going away for a long time. Now he has plenty of time to play around and change things up. And therefore, it's usher if in the situation. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Shimon ben Gamliel says, "Kadei she yiftach yagov only if the Jew stayed away long enough for the idolater to open and remove the seal and make a new seal for it and allow it to dry." According to Shimon ben Gamliel, the idolater would not risk drilling the hole in the barrel's cap and patching it up. Because as long as the seal is on the barrel, he can only smear plaster on the top of the hole. Then the Jew could discover what happened by examining inside the cap after it's removed and seeing the bottom of the hole. The only way that he can be sure that this action will not be discovered is to remove the entire cap and then make a completely new one, which takes more time to make and dry than simply patching a hole. Therefore, only if the Jew stays away long enough for this to take place is the wine usher. If it's not that long, then it would be mutter according to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Mishnah Daled. If a Jew is traveling with an idolater and he leaves his wine along with him in a wagon or a ship, and goes off a short distance and enters the city in days, mutter, then the wine is permitted. Even though the Jew is away for a while, since he went only a short distance away, the idolater did not know how long he would remain. He would be out of town for. He was therefore afraid to tamper with the wine. But if he informed the idolater that he would be going far, the wine is usher if the Jew stayed away long enough for the idolater to make a hole in the seal of the barrel, seal the hole, and allow it to dry before the Jew returned. Since the idolater knew the Jew was going far away, he was not afraid to tamper with the wine because he felt he could hide any trace of what he did before the Jew returned. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, "Kedei sheyiftach v'yaguf v'sigov." The wine is usher only if the Jew was away long enough for the idolater to open the seal, make a new seal for it, and allow it to dry. Another machlokas between the Chachamim and the Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. If a Jew leaves an idolater alone in a store, even if the Jew goes in and out many times and does not watch the idolater constantly, mutter, the wine in the store is mutter since the idolater is not told how long the Jew would be gone each time. He was afraid to tamper with the wine. Maybe back in a minute. He is back in 5 minutes. You don't know. But if you inform the idolater be going far, as it's going down to do deliveries, it's going to be out the whole day. Then the wine is usher if the Jew was away long enough for the idolater to make a hole in the seal of the barrel, seal the hole, and allow it to dry. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, however, says, the wine is usher only if the Jew was away long enough for the idolater to open the seal, make a new seal for it, and allow it to dry. Mishnah Hey. Ochel imo ala shulchan. If a Jew is eating with an idolater at the main table of the Jew's home, v'hiniach legina ala shulchan v'legina al ha delubki, and he placed a jug of wine on the main table and a jug of wine on the side table, and he left the idolater alone and stepped out. Mash ala shulchan usher. The wine that is on the dining table is usher. Mash al hadubki mutter, and the wine that is on the side table is permitted. Since the idolater is an invited guest, he feels free to touch the wine on the dining table, and that wine is therefore usher. But he does not feel free to touch the wine on the side table, since guests do not take food or drink directly from that table. Therefore, the wine remains mutter. This happens a lot on Shabbos when you have guests who are not shomer Torah mitzvahs. So what happens with the wine? So you have to be very careful to get yayin mevushal, or if you do have a regular bottle of wine, you have to be very careful with it. Consult the local Orthodox rabbi. Having mosaic shows them. However, if the Jew said to the idolater before he left, pour some wine for yourself and drink, then the idolater understands that this is permission to take wine even from the side table. Af sha'al hadubki aser, and therefore even the wine that's on the side table is aser. Chaviyos, pesuchos, suros. Wine that is in open barrels is prohibited. Sesumos kadesh yiftach v'yaguf v'sigov. However, wine that is in sealed barrels is usher only if the idolater was alone in the house long enough for him to open the seal, make a new seal, and allow it to dry before the Jew returns. Mishnah Vav. The lashes of the Kochavim. If a troop of idolatrous soldiers entered a city and came into a Jew's house, and the status of the wine in the house depends on the circumstances. If this happened during peacetime, wine in open barrels is asur, because it is assumed that the soldiers touched it, while wine in sealed barrels is mutter, since the seals show that the barrels had not been opened. But during wartime, the wine in both these and those, both the open barrels and the sealed barrels, is mutter, because they have no time during a war to perform a libation. That the soldiers are too worried about being attacked by the enemy to spare time for taking wine and performing libations to their idols. Therefore, the wine is mutter. Mishnah Zayin. Umnin Shal Yisrael. If a Jewish craftsman did a job for an idolater, Shalach lehem ovik l'chav chavish yayin nesep b'scharon, and the idolater who hired them sent them a barrel of nesach wine as their payment. Mutarim lomar lo tein lanu estameha. They are permitted to say to him, "Give us its value of money. Give us the value of money instead." But once the barrel entered their possession, and they legally acquired it, Usr is Usr for them to return it to the idolater in exchange for money. Since the wine has now become theirs, giving it back to the idolater in return for money is the same as selling it to him, and it is Usr for a Jew to sell and take money for Yain Nesach. If a Jew sells his kosher wine to an idolater, whether he may use the money for the sale, whether he may use the money from the sale depends on how the sale was carried out. Pasach ad shalom madad. If he set the price of the wine before he amount the wine that the idolater wanted to buy, and the idolater then agreed to it, and then he took the amount of wine and put it into a container that the idolater took, Tam of Mutarim, its money is permitted for benefit, since the idolater agreed to the price in advance. He acquired the wine as soon as he took the container, and he became obligated to pay for it. The wine at the time was not nesach, and it did not become nesach until he later touched the wine in the container or poured it. The Jew may therefore accept the money for it. But if the Jew measured out the wine and gave it to the idolater before he set the price, and the idolater accepted it, its money is usher, since the idolater had not yet made up his mind to buy the wine when he took the container, because the price might be more than he was willing to pay. He did not acquire the wine when he took it. Therefore, when he touched the wine in the container, it became nesach while the Jew still owned it. And when they finally agreed on the price and made the sale, it was nesach wine that was being sold. And then the Jew may therefore not have benefit from the money. Okay, Nato es hamashbech amado l'soch slichuso shel ovik l'chavim. If a Jew took a funnel measured wine into an idolater's bottle that already contained nesach wine, the chazer mother the soch sluchiso shel Yisrael, and then took the same funnel measured wine into a Jew's bottle. Im yesh bo akeves yayin. If the bottom of the funnel has a wine retainer, which is a lip that prevents the last drop of wine from falling down into the bottle, usher. The wine that was poured into the Jew's bottle is aser. The drops of the wine left in the funnel became aser as nesach wine when the funnel was used to pour wine into the idolater's bottle. Since those drops now fell into the Jew's bottle, the wine in the Jew's bottle also becomes aser, even from a couple of drops. Similarly, if a Jew pours kosher wine from one container into another container containing nesach wine, as she'era mimenu mutter, the wine in the container for which he poured is permitted. As she'era l'socho aser, but the wine into which he poured is aser. Okay, Mishnah Ches. Yayin nesach aser. Nesach wine is aser b'hana. And it asks a mixture, even in the slightest amount, even if a very tiny amount of nesach wine mixes in with a large quantity of permitted wine, the entire mixture is usher. This halach is not only for wine but also for water that was poured as a nisach, as a libation for an idol. Yayin b'yayin and mayim b'mayim. Now, nesach wine mixed with kosher wine, or nesach water mixed with mutta water. It asks the mixture even in the smallest tiny amount, the smallest drop. Yayin b'mayim b'mayim b'yayin. But nesach wine mixed with permitted water, or nesach water mixed with permitted wine, but no same time. Asks the mixture only when it gives flavor to the mixture. This is the rule. When an also food or drink of one kind becomes mixed with the permitted food or drink on its own kind, it answers the mixture even in the smallest amount. But when it is mixed with a permitted substance that is not its own kind, meaning it's with the wine with the water, it answers the mixture only when it gives a flavor. Okay, Mishnah Test. Moving right along. It's a long paragraph. I'm trying to do this a little bit faster, so it's not such a long share. Because tomorrow when we start Perek Avos, those prakim are very, very long. So here we go. Mishnah Test. Elu asur. The following items are prohibited for benefit. The osim and they prohibit the items with which they become mixed, even in the smallest amount. Even if they mix the smallest percentage of the mixture. So what are they? Yain nesach wine, Avodah Zarah, an idol, the oros levuvim, animal hide with the heart opening, the shor niskal, an ox that was sentenced to be stoned to death, because to kill the person, the egla arufa, an egla arufa, which is a decapitated calf, which came up in last week's parsha, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago, with Tzipori Metzora, and the birds that a Metzora brings to purify himself. The sire Nazir, the hair of a Nazir, Upet Chamor, firstborn male donkey, Ubasa V'chala, the meat cooked with milk, the Sir Mishtalech, and the he-goat that was sent to a Zazel on Yom Kippur, the Chulish, the Nishkatu Ba'azara, and an unconsecrated animal that was shechted in the Zarah of the Beis Hamikdash. Elu asurin, these are all aser, asurin b'koshehen, and they aser that which they mix with, even the smallest amounts, even if they make up as the smallest percentage of the mixture. Usually we have a rule of about the b'shishim, like if like a drop of milk spills into a cholent, if it's a ratio of 60-1, then the cholent would be mutter. In these situations, this whole list, even the slightest mashahu, the whole thing is asr. No exceptions. Mishnah Yud. Here we go. Yain nesach shenaf alabor. If a nesach wine fell into a cistern containing permitted wine and kulo asr b'hana, the entire mixture is asr for hana. And Mishum ben Gamliel says Yemacher kulo la'olik l'chol l'chutz midamei yain nesach sheba. And the entire mixture may be sold to a non-Jew minus the value of the nesach wine in it, since he is not receiving any money for the nesach wine in the mixture. The money for the rest of the wine is permitted. Mishnah Yud Aleph. Gash shall evan shezifsa over kolchav. If an idolater coated a stone wine press of a Jew with pitch, in which case we must assume that he also rubbed nesach wine onto the coating. Nagva v'hitahora, then the Jew must wash and dry it, and it is then considered cleansed from any forbidden wine. The wine press may not be used to produce kosher wine. So, since the wine press is made of stone, it does not absorb the wine in the pitch. Therefore, it is enough to remove the wine from the coating by washing and drying it. This shall aid. So if the wine press is made of wood, Rabbi says, he should wash and dry it to cleanse it, because the wooden walls of the press also do not absorb wine. The Chachamim say, Yiklof es hazefes, he must first remove the coating of pitch and then wash and dry the surface of the wine press. A wooden wine press requires a thicker coating of pitch than on a stone. Since this thicker coating absorbs more wine, then the Chachamim hold that the washing and drying alone cannot completely cleanse the press from the nesach wine. The shalcheres, that the wine press is made of earthenware, even if you remove the coating of the pitch, harezu asura, it is still asur, Since the earthenware is highly absorbent, it must be assumed that the forbidden wine was absorbed not only in the coating of the pitch, but also into the earthenware walls of the wine press. The press is therefore prohibited for use even after the coating of pitch has been removed. And the last Mishnah of this Masechta, Mishnah Yud Beis, Halokeach klei tashmish min ha'odikol chavim. Someone who buys utensils used for food from idolaters must purify them in the following way: Esh shedarko lahatbil yatbil. If it's the utensil that customarily needs only immersion in a mikveh, because it has not absorbed any forbidden flavor, he should immerse it in a mikveh and then use it. Hagil yagil. If it is a utensil that customarily needs purging with hot water, or which takes up the flavors that it absorbed, he should first purge it with hot water and then immerse and then tovel it in a mikveh to matter it for use. Labin ba'or. And if it's a utensil that customarily needs heating in a flame with a libun to remove any flavor absorbed in it, and he should first heat it in a flame and then betovel it in a mikveh to matter it for use. For example, hashpur askala, a spit used for roasting and a grill. Labin ba'or, he must heat them in a flame before toveling them in a mikveh. Hasakir, if someone buys a knife from an idolater, shafa v'hi tahora, he scrubs it by sticking it hard into hard ground, and it becomes pure and with the for use. Maseches Avodah Zarah, and we will continue tomorrow with Perek Avos, the longest Perek in Shas, maybe, I think so. And that's all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us.